Yo devs, Raz here. Today we're diving into Unity's official learning project, FPS Microgame, the holy textbook for new Unity developers. Except, it seems like the half of this textbook was written at 3 AM by someone being held hostage by an mesh agent. To be fair, this project does some things right. It has AI, modularity, events, stuff that actually teaches you how the real game works. But here is the catch. Beginners copy everything. Like, everything. And some patterns inside this project are, how would I put this politely, cursed. Absolutely cursed. I would even say career-limiting cursed. So today I'm gonna show you what Unity did right, what they did very wrong, and what you should learn instead. If you're at the start of your journey, this video will save you months of pain. If you're already a developer, this is gonna be hilarious. And hey, before we dive in, don't forget to smash the subscribe button while watching this video or right after, because it helps me and my channel to grow. And in case if you're already subscribed, please create another account, subscribe again, and so on. Also, do not forget to subscribe your mother, your father, and your grandmother. Thank you. Alright, be ready, Unity open, let's get into what Unity actually did well, because surprisingly there is some good shit out there. First, the input, and the credit where it's due. They didn't scatter input together across 50 scripts like some kind of ritualistic disaster. They put everything in one handler, one place. Clean, predictable, understandable. If you're a beginner, it's a right mental model. All input goes into one place and everyone else just asks for what they need. Next, there is a very simple event bus. Not perfect, not elegant, but absolutely right direction for beginners. Instead of every script poking every other script, they pass messages. It keeps responsibilities separate and it teaches you that gameplay doesn't need to turn into a spiderweb of references. It's still important to mention that event system isn't a single answer to the dependency management problem. There are some more, and the way it's done here isn't the best way. We're also gonna discuss it further, but anyway, that's definitely right direction. It's not a galaxy brain architecture, just a clean way to say something happened without hard dependencies. One thing Unity nailed here, editor usage. Headers, tooltips, ranges, everything is annotated, and that's a huge for learning. Most beginners treat the inspector like a random dump of variables. This project actually teaches you how to present your components, how to make them readable, and how to think like someone building tools, not just writing code. If there is one habit I want new devs to pick up, it's this. Make your inspector usable. Future you will love you for it. And same goes for a game designer or any other not that technical person in your team. Surprisingly, the AI structure is pretty decent. Detection is its own module, behavior types like mobile and turret live separately, patrol paths are external data. This is exactly how you teach modularity. It's not perfect, but it shows beginners that enemies aren't one giant script. They are built from multiple components working together. That's a right direction. And one thing I absolutely did not expect, they split the project into assemblies. They have AI, gameplay, game, UI and editor assemblies. This is a very professional habit, it speeds up compile time, organizes systems, and teaches beginners that Unity codebase can be modular on a project level, not only on the script level. For a teaching project, this is legitimately impressive, it sets up the right foundation for growing into large-scale development. So yeah, Unity did a solid job on some fronts. If the whole project was like this parts, then video would be 2 minutes long and extremely boring. But unfortunately for Unity, the rest of the project exists. Alright devs, fun part's over, now it's time to open the ancient scroll of sins, because while Unity did some solid things, the foundation they're teaching here is absolutely cooked. Let's start with the fundamentals, the stuff that shapes how beginners think about C#, and the spoiler, it ain't shaping anything good. If this project had a slogan, it would be, just make it public, lol. Every field, every setting, every internal variable and every little thing blasted out into the open with public. It's the fastest way to teach beginners that encapsulation is just a fancy word adults use to sound smart. This is bad, this is wrong, and this makes your codebase age like milk. Just a simple fix, making it private, adding proper attribute to expose it in the inspector, and adding a property with getter only. Now it's simple, clean, and actually teaches something. Next scene, Unity's favorite habit, pretending access modifiers don't exist. Every script is full of this shit. Technically private, practically a great way to confuse anyone learning how visibility works. If you're teaching beginners C#, you give them good habits, not autopilot boilerplate. Here's the fun game. Open any script and take a shot every time you see a magic number. Why 04? Why 05? Why 100? Nobody knows. Maybe Unity knows. Maybe Unity doesn't. Maybe we're all just pretending. Magic numbers don't teach beginners anything good. Named constants do, serialized fields do, even comments do. Forgot to mention, even though I truly believe that comments in code may represent complex business logic only, this time I'm not gonna be against them, because this is the only way how this tutorial explains the stuff. Unity loves managers, loves them. Half the project is managers. Manager is the most meaningless word in game dev. Does it store data, run systems, handle lifecycle, file taxes? Who knows? Good names teach architecture, bad names teach confusion, and this project teaches confusion. And now the mega scene, the one mistake every beginners make, and this project reinforces it. One script doing movement and camera and crouch, and gravity, and kill height, and state flags, and ground checks, and maybe your taxes if you scroll for enough. This is not teaching architecture, this teaching pain. Same deal here. AI logic, visuals, health, events, weapons, all in once. Unity didn't just make a controller, they made a code lasagna. Better teaching moment would be splitting those into modules, but hey, now at least you know what not to do. Alright devs, we're moving up a level. Not just C# mistakes, but the actual architecture this project teaches you. And some of these patterns, if you learn them early, they will stick with you for years, so let's break them before they break you. Next up, dependency hell. This project uses find any object by type like it's a universal problem solver. Enemy controller grabs enemy manager, actors manager, gameflow manager, player input handler grabs manager, teleport player grabs player, and none of these dependencies are visible or structured, they're just magically summoned from the scene like it's some ritual you're not supposed to question. Here goes few points why it is bad for learning. First of all, it teaches beginners that dependencies appear on demand from the void. Secondly, when something breaks, there is no obvious connection to debug. And also you can't reuse or test scripts properly because they are glued to global lookups. What do you think they should teach? Well, thank you for asking. I bet they should teach, first of all, being explicit about dependencies. What about the solutions? Well, they may sing about some kind of inspector references. It's very simple, visual, and great for the beginners because it illustrates the flow of the dependencies. If they go deeper, they may provide some kind of lightweight service locator pattern or even a basic DI container, some kind of tiny homemade one. Don't get me wrong, the point isn't that inspector references are perfect, it's that clarity is perfect. Keep your dependencies visible, consistent, and predictable. Teach structure and not magical summoning spells. Now let's get back to input. The idea here is great. They put all input logic into one handler. No random input gets calls scattered across the galaxy. But here is where the project misses an amazing teaching opportunity. Instead of showing how to abstract input, they hardcode everything. Old input system only, weapon keys 1 to 8, gamepad detection by axis not 0. Instead, the project could have introduced some abstraction layer like input handler and some kind of implementation platform specific like standalone, mobile, and gamepad, and optionally leave the door for the new input system without forcing it. This teaches a mindset. Input is a layer, the one you can easily swap, adjust, or extend. You don't tie your entire game to a single API. Instead, you define a contract and everything else uses it. Even a tiny example like this would have been incredibly valuable for students. Some methods in this project mix everything together, like high-level gameplay logic and low-level plumbing in the same 50-line block. In this method, we can see inventory logic, auto-switch logic, audio and VFX, and also destroying pickup. Beginners see this and think, oh, I guess this is how you're supposed to write methods. Instead, it would be much better to group those in separated methods, especially if you are gonna reuse them in the future. Readable code doesn't happen by accident, and the sample project should demonstrate that. Alright, let's talk about the glue that holds a lot of this project together. Events, delegates, and lifecycle. Unity was so close to doing the right thing here, but then it trips over its own shoelaces again. First red flag, public Unity actions. everywhere. On the surface, this looks flexible. You can hook into it from anywhere. In reality, this teaches beginners that events are just random public delegates you can override, null out, or invoke manually from any script. The only power of the Unity action is that it's being serialized in the inspector, so in case you need it for this reason, well, you may use it, but in any other cases, it's much better to stick with this approach. This makes the intent clear. The outside code can subscribe and unsubscribe, not replace the event entirely. It's a small change in syntax, but a huge change in how people think about designing API. The next issue is inconsistency. In one place they do this, and in another part of the same project they do the safer version. So which one is the right way for the beginner? No idea, depends on which file they opened first. Here why this matters. Null-safe invocation is the pattern you want people to internalize. In a learning project, you don't want 50-50 coin flips between safe and unsafe patterns. What about me? Well, I even prefer going deeper with that, enabling nullables in the project to prevent null references in the future. But that's a definitely topic for another video. This is exactly a tiny detail that shapes habits. If you show null-safe code everywhere, people just copy it. If you mix it, well, they just pick whatever is shorter. And then there is a straight-up bug. Objective HUD Manager subscribes to events in onEnable and then subscribes again in onDestroy. No remove listener, just more add listener. So every time thing is created and destroyed, it leaves another ghost listener behind. And the funny stuff here is that this is really just a simple typo. But as you see, this problem with events that you need to unsubscribe is pretty actual, because even if you don't forget to unsubscribe, you may occasionally make a typo and subscribe again instead. Let's repeat, events are contract. If you connect them, you also need to disconnect them. That's the discipline you want beginners to see over and over again. Alright devs, now we're entering the part of the project where mistakes don't just teach you bad habits. They actually break your game or tank your performance. These aren't theoretical issues. These are my objective cannot be completed, or my FPS suddenly died kind of problems. Let's start with the fun one. When enemy falls off the level, Unity calls destroy on this game object directly. Sounds fine, right? Except the system that tracks enemies, Enemy Manager, never gets the memo, because unregistered enemy is only called when the normal death flow happens. Falling off the map, that bypasses everything. Result, enemies disappear visually but still count toward remaining enemy goals. Your objective may literally never complete. The fix here is simple, just make sure that all destruction paths go through a unified method, something like die or kill that always unregisters. This is a kind of oversight teaching project should not have, cause beginners gonna simply copy it into their own games and get stuck debugging ghosts. Next up, performance disaster waiting to happen. The detection system loops through every actor and for each frame it uses physics raycast all with a layer mask of -1. So not only we are raycasting every frame, we are raycasting through every layer, and not once, but once per enemy, per target. On a tiny sample scene, fine. On an actual project, your game becomes a very expensive slideshow. How it can be improved? Use specific layer mask, or use physics raycast without all, or don't run detection logic every single frame. Again, here's the same issue in other places. Player ground check, use overlap capsule with a -1 mask. Again, checking literally everything. If you teach someone to use -1 masks everywhere, they will. And that's how you end up spending a full week wondering why your trigger fires when a UI canvas enters the scene. These aren't game breaking, but they reveal the project didn't get a rigorous review. And the beginners absolutely copy such mistakes. For instance, this random range never picks the last particle effect. Ever. Some scripts assume animator or detection source point is always assigned. If a beginner forgets to wire it, boom, no reference. It's much safer to add required component at the top then, or just using null-safe invocation. So yeah, these bugs are small in isolation, but together they bring a message that Unity scripts can easily break. That's a normal. Well, it should be normal, at least for the project that meant to teach the newbies. Alright devs, one last category before we wrap this up, and this pretty important lesson for the beginners, knowing that you should separate debug tools from the actual gameplay code. Because Unity's sample project kinda mixes them together like it's the same thing, forming bad habits early. This script right here, it's meant to help you debug levels. Press F12, raycast into the ground, teleport the player. Super handy during development. But in this project, teleport player is just a normal runtime component with no safeguards. No if conditions, no dev only tagging, nothing. This may lead to shipping game with debug cheats accidentally enabled. It teaches you to throw debug tools into gameplay folders without thinking. I personally recommend you to keep all dev tools in a separated assembly. Debug tools are amazing, they speed up iteration and make development fun, but that's important to learn when, where and how to use them, and this project unfortunately doesn't teach this. Alright devs, let's wrap this up. Unity FPS Learn project is a pretty nice playground, but a questionable textbook if you care about coding health and long-term architectures. It has some generally strong ideas, like assemblies, clear input handling, simple events, and some more stuff that is good for beginners to see. But right next to that, you've got public fields everywhere, inconsistent event usage, missing access modifiers, and just some bugs that ruin gameplay, and some more stuff we've discovered today together. So, if you're learning Unity, steal the good parts, learn from bad parts, and don't just assume that sample projects represent industry standards. They rarely do. If you want a follow-up video where I refactor these systems properly, let me know in the comments. I might actually make one, and I'm gonna publish it on the Patreon, together with the source code of course, so go and subscribe there as well. We're gonna make a lot of fun there, I hope. And hey, if you want to see what happens if there is actually zero architecture at all, go check my previous code review video, you're gonna be shocked. Alright devs, thank you for watching, drop a comment down below if you learned something new today, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and remember, writing clean code is good, but most importantly, stay safe and love your mom. Cheers!